Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about PlayStation 4 emulation with psOff, or psOff, or subscribe to Mr. Sujano, depending on how you wanted to pronounce that. Anyways, psOff just got a brand new update. Now, it's worth pointing out if you look at their GitHub and don't click on anything, it looks like their latest release was December 31st, 2024. However, if you click on the latest release here and then just click on releases, it'll bring you up with the latest version, which is January 22nd, 2025. On top of that, if you wanted to be notified of the latest releases here and didn't want to wait for my videos, check out their Discord. Although psOff is mostly closed source, at the exact same time the developers are pretty transparent as to what they're working on. You can see everything here in the psOff Premium Tracker. This emulator is still early on in terms of development. Don't expect it to boot and play every single PS4 game. Their GitHub also has a fairly comprehensive compatibility tracker, so if there's a game you're looking for in specific, you can kind of see where it's at. It's very easy to sort through. You can even just select a label and go from there. And continuing to speak about PlayStation 4 emulation, next up we're talking about Shad PS4. And it seems that Shad PS4 has got the attention of some pretty big YouTube channels. Digital Foundry just posted a video testing out Shad PS4 and Bloodborne and a bunch of different mods. The overall video seemed pretty darn positive and the comments are also very positive as well. This person says, keep in mind that Shad PS4 started booting Bloodborne only about 7 months ago and here we are. And this person, which is I think the top comment, Bloodborne emulation is going so well that Nintendo is going to sue. If you are curious about this one and wanted to learn more about it, I do recommend giving this video a watch, and like everything we talk about, link will be in the description below right at the bottom. I don't hide my sources. And continuing to speak about emulation, next up we're talking about N64 emulation with Gopher64. Gopher64 is an N64 emulator written in Rust. At the time of filming, version 0.1.20 is the latest update, and if you're interested in Netplay, this is a pretty big update. So they've added in Netplay Create Room GUI, Netplay Wait Room, Netplay Join Room, Netplay Registration, Netplay Sync Save Files, and Netplay Input Sync. You can see this is all about Netplay. Next up, we're shifting from one kind of emulation to a different kind of emulation and talking about FPGA. And Take Udon has revealed pre-order dates as well as pricing for the SuperStation One. And that is the PS1 FPGA that works with PS1 peripherals and, well, so much more. And there's a transparent blue shell which looks absolutely awesome. Pre-orders start on this one from January 25th or 26th, depending on where you're at in the world, and I think this is going to be very popular. I mean, it's priced at $150 for FPGA, which I think makes things very accessible. And I'm curious to see if this sells out in terms of pre-orders or if it's going to be an open pre-order and Take is just going to keep making these as long as people are pre-ordering them. We'll have to wait and see there, but I will say that this is a very hot ticket item and something very encouraging in the FPGA space. And continuing to talk about FPGA stuff, kind of, not really, I guess. Next up, we're talking about the SuperSega FPGA, or the Super SPGA, or whatever they're calling it nowadays. Anyways, to me, it's just one red flag after another, after another, after another, in a sea of red flags in this project. And it seems yet another red flag has popped up and yet another controversy. And this one is wild. Here's the title on time extension. SuperSega refunds are still missing as creator cheats death. I'm pretty sure we've covered some of this in previous videos. I mean, we talked about Video Game Esoterica, who had a very recent video talking about the state of the SuperSega FPGA. Video Game Esoterica seems to be very close to this overall project and close to the people who have pre-ordered one and who haven't received refunds. However, here, interestingly, they say that the creator of this claims there are 10 to 15 people who haven't been refunded, and I guess everybody else has. However, that doesn't seem to be the case, but who knows here. Taking a look at some of the comments and some of the articles about SuperSega, and there seems to be a whole lot of debate as to whether or not Alejandro is actually sick or not, or if it's being exaggerated or not. Honestly, with everything I've seen here, it seems everything about this project is hard to believe and doubts are being raised. And that's understandably so, but at the same time here, if it is serious, I do hope he makes a full recovery. And speaking about recoveries, next up we're talking about something that is not making a recovery, and that is Earthblade. For those who may be unaware, this game was revealed a couple of years ago and it was being made by the people behind Celeste. And it turns out the game has been cancelled. And at the beginning of this video, I would say the Yamcha pose here is very appropriate. If you are curious about this one, Extremely OK Games issued a statement on their website and it dives into exactly what happened. Based on my understanding, they made the decision to cancel the game back in December and have just announced it now. And the main reason behind it is a falling out of sorts with the whole team. Pedro, the art director, left the project entirely, left the team entirely. And it seems part of the disagreement was about the IP rights of Celeste. Taking a look at the team, and the team is pretty small, just 2 main people and some collaborators, and Pedro is no longer listed. They do clarify, though, that losing Pedro wasn't the only factor in canceling the game, but it did prompt them to take a serious look as to whether or not to continue on. And in my opinion here, if it was a team of 2, well, a team of 3 and then down to a team of 2, that's like losing 33% of your team. That is a whole lot. Completely understandable as to why they'd reevaluate the entire situation. It seems that Earthblade was not near as far along as they'd hoped, and continuing on was a fight not worth fighting. So to paraphrase it, kind of the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. Moving forward, it does seem that Extremely OK Games will continue on making games, just not at the level of Earthblade. It seems Celeste put the bar pretty darn high to an unobtainable level for this size of studio. And speaking about disappointments, next up we're talking about EA, and EA appears to be pretty disappointed at the underperformance of Dragon Age. They're saying that Dragon Age the Veilguard missed the company's expectations by nearly 50%. According to the information in this VGC article, it does appear that EA has lowered its expectations for the rest of the year. I don't want to say I'm surprised here because I'm really not. Based on what I've seen so far for Dragon Age and even EA FC 25, I mean, EA has a lot of areas where I think they could improve. Making better games is one of them. And speaking about making better games, next up we're talking about Pocketpair, the makers of Palworld. And even in the midst of a lawsuit with Nintendo, it seems that Pocketpair is full steam ahead. They have just launched Pocketpair Publishing. The tagline for Pocketpair Publishing is just have fun. Making games is fun and we want to help you make games too. We understand the challenges of creating your dream game. At Pocketpair, we've been fortunate to find success. Now, more than anything, we want to use that success to help other developers achieve theirs. They go on to say, we don't want to tell you what to do. We don't want to take control from you. We don't want to change your dream or push you to make a certain type of game. We want to give you money and we want to help you make a fun game. If this is true, if this holds up, this may be a breath of fresh air for a lot of indie developers who have seemed to have problems with publishers lately. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. Do you think this is going to turn out great? Do you think it's going to be a disaster? I mean, they seem pretty ambitious and pretty easygoing. I'm hoping that can translate to business success for them and business success for a lot of developers out there. Who knows here, but with the success of Palworld, I'm assuming there are developers who'd be interested in checking out Pocketpair Publishing, provided the whole situation with Nintendo is resolved. Next up, we're talking about the NVIDIA RTX 5090 and 5080. We have talked performance numbers, and well, now we're talking pricing. And real-world pricing is starting to leak out, and I would say things are not looking good. So these prices are starting to leak over at PC Part Picker, and they may not be accurate or equal across the board, but they're starting to look more accurate than not. And this is for the RTX 5080, a 16GB video card priced at $1,900. Someone over on Reddit Gaming Leaks and Rumors curated a nice list of prices they've seen so far, and take a look at the Asus ROG Astral OC for the 5090, priced at $2,800. The cheapest RTX 5090 listed so far is the MSI Ventus 3X OC, listed at $2,200. And as for the 5080, the cheapest one listed here is $1,139, which is the MSI Ventus 3X OC Plus. Now, I don't know about you, but these prices are, well, they're astronomical for a video card. I mean, some people may be willing to pay that. I'm assuming the scalpers will, and then they'll mark up the prices even more. If you're in the market for one of these, I would highly encourage not to go through a scalper and possibly just wait until they're readily available, or pick up a cheaper card and just deal with a cheaper card. I don't know many people who will need the top-of-the-line 5090 for gaming. I could be wrong about that, but I'm assuming the market priced at this price point here is going to be very niche. And speaking about leaks, next up here we're talking about Doom, and there's a brand new trailer for Doom: The Dark Ages that has appeared online. This trailer appears to be real, and it's being rumored that the release date for this game is going to be May 15th. The trailer here that's been posted is 1 minute and 33 seconds long, and if you're looking for gameplay and combat and all of that stuff, you're not going to find it in this trailer. I don't want to say it's a nothing burger, but it's really a whole lot of nothing. It's some cinematics a little bit and gives you a rough idea of how the game may look. I would say from a reveal standpoint, this is, well, it may not be what you're expecting. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong here, but I'm assuming this trailer was from NVIDIA that was shown behind closed doors at CES 2025, and it seems someone recorded it with their phone. Either way here, let me know your thoughts about the next Doom game in the comments below. And speaking about trailers, if you're looking for action, combat, and cinematics, and I guess some meat and potatoes when it comes to gameplay, well, this trailer here will have you covered. It's a brand new trailer for Phantom Blade Zero. This game is headed to PC and PS5. Unfortunately, I don't have a release date or pricing or anything of that nature just yet. It's being said that this game is a spiritual successor to Rainblood Town of Death. Next up, we're talking about Mortal Kombat 1, and this news surprised me quite a bit. It's being reported that MK1 has sold 5 million copies, which is a lot less than I would have expected. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the predecessor to this game, MKX, sold around 12 million units. So 5 million units here is, well, it's less than half, and MK1 launched back in 2023. I'm assuming here that NetherRealms and WB had much higher expectations for this game. There's been a lot of rumor that the game was stopping support. There's been rumor that the game is continuing. The latest rumor here is that the game is going to continue trucking forward. And just to put perspective into this, 5 million units is the exact same as Balatro, which probably costed a fraction to develop. Now, I want to point out here, I am not downplaying Balatro. This is a really huge number, and I'm very impressed with Balatro and the sales numbers. I think this is absolutely massive for an indie game, a huge success. I'm just thinking a game like MK1 where they've thrown a lot of money into it and had the success of 12 million units for MKX. I'm assuming here that they wanted to sell more. It's not a wild assumption. And as a huge fighting game fan, I'm disappointed that MK1 hasn't been more successful. And speaking about money, last up here we're switching from money to free and talking about F-Droid. For those who may not be aware, F-Droid is an installable catalog of free and open source software applications for the Android platform. And F-Droid has just published their 2024 recap and also 2025 looking forward. The F-Droid team says they had a pretty darn good 2024. In fact, they use the word milestone. They say there's significant strides in decentralizing app distribution, expanding the F-Droid ecosystem, and solidifying their infrastructure. As for moving forward here in 2025, they're adding more team members and they've got big plans to improve infrastructure and even more. In fact, here they're going to be working on a grant that has been funded by the Open Technology Fund. I'm a big fan of F-Droid and what they're doing, and if you haven't checked out F-Droid before, I do recommend giving it a look if you're on Android. I mean, you may find some apps in here that are free and open source and right up your alley. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. The legendary One Fluff is upstairs right now cuddling with Mrs. Sujano, and I'm not about to ruin that. Anyways, we talked about a bunch today. Feel free to discuss anything we talked about in the comments below. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.